But yeah, before I start here, let me do a few more things. But yeah, all right, cool. We're dropping some frames, no big deal. It is what it is. But yeah, let's talk about Strive, right? See what else I got here. I don't need that. I don't need that. I need this. Okay. So here we go. I made a 3-page doc roughly on my thoughts, kind of other people's thoughts, all that stuff, right? So before I get into this, what's up, YouTube? We're just gonna briefly kind of go over the pros and the cons and the things I've seen throughout the community. Some of these are based off of some community perception. I went in and tested it just to kind of, see it for myself, see if it was a problem, all that good stuff, right? And I ended up putting it in here. So if you see some things kind of line up with other people's stuff, it's probably why, because I also agree with it. Now, the game, I will say, up here you'll see that the only selling point is rollback. That's not true anymore. Okay. I think the game is good. I do. I think the game is good. It just has some flaws, right? But yeah. So let's get into the pros of this game, right? So, if you guys have any questions too, don't hesitate to ask, right? So basically, I was playing through the beta, right? I had a fun time. Yeah. So the pros of this game for sure are the visuals. I think this game is the best looking fighting game out there right now. I think everybody can kind of attest to that. The visuals, great. Stages, great. Not much wrong there. And then we got music. I've been hearing, it's a pro for me, okay? And I've been hearing a lot of people on Twitter and Twitch chats talk about the music, okay? And I get it, okay? Guilty Gear does the whole heavy rock thing. Daisuke was inspired by 80s music and like thrash metal and all that good stuff, right? So I do understand why people may not like it, but people need to understand that this is what his creation's based off, right? So I suggest, you listen to some of the older soundtracks. People talked about the lyrics, right? People talked about not liking them, and I was like, most all character themes in Guilty Gear kind of tell that character story in a way, which is really cool. But everybody nowadays too has like that generic pop and like that rap idea, and there's not a lot of good heavy rock out there kind of anymore, is what people have kind of said. I agree and disagree with that because I listen to a lot of rock and stuff myself. And I still think there's some good heavy rock and stuff out there today. Just not a lot of people know about it. I think there's some good hardcore music that's kind of similar to what we're looking for and everything. So yeah, if you guys don't like the music, I suggest listening to this is a pet peeve of mine because the music in this game rocks, and it's kind of one of the reasons I've gotten into this game, right? But listen to some Journey, some Def Leppard, some Millie Rage, some stuff like that. Dio, Poison, Kiss, Guns N' Roses, right? Axl Low is based off of Axl Rose. So, yeah. I suggest, give the music a chance, man. It's really good, and he does a great job with it, right? Here we go. So, we got rollback, right? Which is great. Oh, hey guys, how's it going? How's it going, guys? Glad you guys pop in. I appreciate it. Just going over my thoughts and stuff on the beta here, but let's get back to the point. So we have rollback netcode in this game. I've played the game, the beta, for, I want to say at least 16, 18 hours-ish, and I've played with people. I played with a buddy in Spain or Europe, and it felt like offline. that's incredible to me. I play people in Japan, it virtually no lag. I've played people in South America, no lag. Basically played people around the world and no lag, and I just think that is so crazy and so good. And we might not even be having this talk right now if not for the pandemic. I think the pandemic really opened game developers' eyes to the online issues with their games, and I think going forward, if your game does not have rollback after this, it is going to be dead on arrival. I just after playing on rollback, after experiencing flawless game like that with people across the world, there is no reason that it should not be in your game. So yeah, that's my point there. Footsies are definitely more relevant in this game, right? If that's your sort of thing, cool. I know more games are trying to bring in more emphasis on footsies, which is not a bad thing if done right? But yeah, I think that's cool. I've been learning footsies myself a little bit, and while footsies are very hard, I think they're pretty cool. Like essential thing to most fighting games. Otherwise, you're kind of just flying all over the screen, right? So I think every game has footsies, right? No matter what game it is, it's just how it is used or how it is perceived. This game is definitely slower than other Guilty Gears because they wanted that like more footsie centered or focused gameplay. But the game's still extremely fast. It definitely still feels like Guilty Gear. But yeah, that's cool there. Character visual redesigns are, I agree for the most part. They're pretty dope. Like Eno's new design is fantastic. Ramthal's is pretty cool. Some of them I don't really care for, but it's a 60-40 thing. 60% I'm like, hey, they're cool. 40% I'm like, right? But for the most part, I think the character designs are pretty cool. So then we get into the system mechanics, the updated system mechanics or new mechanics, whatever you want to call them, right? New cancels and risk, things like that. They seem pretty cool. The new roaming cancels and the fast RC and things like that add surprisingly a lot of depth to gameplay, which is very cool. Yeah, I just think it's really cool because the way you can extend combos. You have yellow RC, which I have been told I didn't use it too much. I used mine mostly for continuing my combos and stuff, but I heard yellow RC pretty much acts as dead angle attacks. As you can see, I said I think dead angle attacks should come back in this game, but I'll have to do more testing when the game comes out and see if I still feel the same way, if they actually do act as dead angle attacks. But from what I've heard, that's kind of what they are now. Fast RC is sick though. It's a really good change to the roaming cancel system. Flauntless defense and instant flauntless defense are cool. I do like the instant flauntless defense. Kind of how it moves you off, keeps people off you a little bit, which is cool. Which I almost think kind of acts as like a dead angle thing, almost in a way. But yeah, allows you a little bit of space, gives you some breathing room, all that good stuff. I think those are great. There's definitely a lot of depth there, which is good. Then we have Roman cancels right there. I talk about fast RC, how it adds a lot of possible combo routes and mix-ups, and I saw this today when I was playing my buddy Addiction, right? He was using his RC to keep his melee loops going, and honestly, I was getting my ass kicked by him, but those loops were super cool. They were awesome. They're cool to watch. Maybe not so fun to be caught in one, but hey, if you have the mechanics and you get caught in it, that's awesome. It's cool. Yeah, it almost made it feel, I know it's not necessarily Xrd, and I really like Xrd. But I've kind of come into this game with a different mindset, right? That it's not. It's its own thing. Just like Accent Core was its own thing, and just like Xrd was its own thing, right? But yeah, but I still feel like, you know, the combo, like watching Milia, right? It seems like the combo routes are like, they have some depth to them. They're long. I think long combos are cool. Who doesn't like doing long and saucy combos, right? Shows your skill, shows some of your technical, technical skill, I guess, would be the word for that. Which I think is pretty cool. It's cool that they kept that in the game. Yeah, so I do think this is a good game for newcomers, by the way. So if you guys are new to this series, I think it's the time to kind of get in. But I will also say play Xrd, because that game's dope. Wall break. So I'm kind of 50-50 on the wall break thing. It's okay. It's better than it was last beta, because like there was no reason to break the wall, but now we're in a spot where there's not really no reason not to break the wall, because breaking the wall gives you meter gain, you know, extra damage. If you break the wall with super, it gives you hard knockdown, breaking the wall. So it gives you some options there. So there's really no reason. It gives you momentum. There's really not, well, it cuts off your momentum actually, which is a problem with it, but yeah, there's no reason, right? But I'll talk a little bit more about that in the con section, right? So yeah, you know, here I talk about combos, right? We talk about you know, there's some pretty cool saucy combos, all that good stuff, right? I kind of wish, I think all characters kind of have like some saucy combos and stuff they can do. I haven't gotten to really mess around with a lot of people, but from what I've seen, like Zato and Ram have some pretty cool combos. I couldn't really pull off any of the combos yet. I didn't have enough time with the game. I didn't use training tool enough, but Ram, from watching Ram gameplay, watching some Zato gameplay, it looks like they got some pretty cool stuff, and that's cool to see. That's another thing that kind of makes it feel like Guilty Gear, right? If you guys got questions, feel free to ask. But I did say in here I wish more long combos kind of existed. I think this is due in fact, right, to what's the word I am looking for? The damage being super high. Just even if you could get a long combo, it's kind of like once you get that one mid-screen combo that's like somewhat long, you're already doing 50%, 60% of somebody's HP, which, you know, it's cool if you like that, but I'm not a big fan of how high the damage is right now, and I think that's because some of the defensive modifiers aren't as heavily prevalent in this game, or what it is, but I'm assuming it's a guts thing. They would have to like up guts or something to tone the damage down a little bit, or just tone damage overall around the cast down a little bit. Except for somebody maybe like Kai. I played Kai a little bit. It feels like he's a little bit on the lower side of damage, so maybe bringing everybody down to Kai's level might be good. But that's all I really have for that. But yeah, for it being a beta, I've got to say the balance in the game seems pretty good. You know, obviously there are some outliers, but people feel pretty close in power. Some obviously more than others. Like I think Faust definitely suffered the most coming from Xrd to Strive. He lost a lot of stuff. But Ramethal also lost a lot of stuff, but somehow, some way, she's able to be extremely high tier so far in this game, or S tier. So I don't know. Maybe down the line, maybe when the game comes out, people find some more things out with Faust. But right now, I do think the game is pretty balanced for it being a beta, of course, which is good because we're only a month and a half roughly away from release, right? But yeah, so I was kind of torn on command normals at first, and I do think they're pretty cool now after playing the beta for a little bit longer. when I first started, I was kind of like, oh man, when am I ever going to really use these, right? But, you know, after watching some gameplay, after messing around with them a little bit in my own gameplay, they make for some interesting combo extenders, combo enders, getting people off you with anti-airs, whatever it may be, whatever your command normals are good for, right? They give you a brief explanation in the game that kind of goes over like, hey, you can use this for an anti-air, has a little bit of invuln in it on startup, whatever it is. But yeah, I think if once everybody messes around with command normals a little bit more, we'll be seeing some more tech. So that's cool. But last but not least, man, we have a Wi-Fi indicator, right? So when the game is fully released, there will be a Wi-Fi indicator, okay? Which is super good for the game. And Wi-Fi people were complaining about this, and all I can say, hey, is if you want people to play with you, just literally buy an Ethernet cable. Don't play on Wi-Fi, man. Ethernet cable's literally like $8. Don't be a tightwad, obviously, right? Just buy the freaking Ethernet cord, okay? It's not that hard. $8, you got $8 laying around. If you don't, then you probably shouldn't just spend all your money on the game, right? So, yeah, a little harsh, but hey, that is what it is. But here we go. We got the cons. So we rounded off, you know, the pros section, all that good stuff. 1 second, guys. Yo, Addiction, homie, was up? Glad you could stop on by, man. Hope you're still enjoying the beta. I don't know how long you're gonna be on, but maybe we can get a few more games in later if you're still on. I don't know. But it was fun playing with you today, bro. So, here we go. The cons. Here's the cons of the game. Gameplay-wise, I think everything in the cons section, I think, would definitely enhance the ability of this game, right? If they were added or implemented in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so here we go. So gameplay, I feel it feels like it's almost lacking a little bit, and I say it probably won't have long-term success. And kind of here's why. While RC feels like added a lot of depth, and that's good, and that'll keep people around, I think there are some things that are going to frustrate people that in long term might not be healthy for the game. In this game, after playing a little bit today with my homie here, Addiction, and just playing on my own through the tower, I noticed that there's no air unblockables, which kind of sucks, because like if you can block everything, like I gotta say here, like if you can block everything in the air, it's just way too easy, almost. You know what I mean? You're not getting punished. There's no punishment. And just being able, like, there's no reason to really anti-air, right? Because if you can just block everything in the game, then it's like, oh well. They can just come in and block my anti-air, then what do I do? It's like, oh, well, you lost out even though you guessed right. It's kind of like, oh, well, I'm getting punished for it in a way. So I don't really care for that. But yeah, I noticed for a few things that I was trying it, my timing wasn't great in some of the matches, because it's just something you have to figure out. But I noticed that you could pretty much fuzzy jump a lot of stuff. I saw this one on Twitter actually, so I was curious, and I went in and I tested it in training a little bit, and you can fuzzy jump out of the corner with pretty much no risk. Obviously, I've gotten hit a few times, but I think it's like mostly a timing thing. I'm maybe doing a little too late, a little too early, whatever it is. But yeah, it's pretty much get out of jail free card in the corner, which is kind of like, you know, if you got put in the corner, man, my thing is if you got put in the corner, it's your fault in the first place, so you should get punished for being in the corner, obviously. But yeah, Gatlings, big topic, right? Pretty big topic. Gatlings, they are severely gutted in this game, and I think with them being so gutted, it makes the game very rigid and clunky at times. When I was playing Ram, right, it feels almost like, you know, my punch should go into my kick, or my kick should go into my punch, or my, you know, obviously slash still goes into heavy slash, which in older guild gears like GGXrd it did. But I noticed like mostly it's pretty much if you want to have like somewhat of a Gatling, it's like pretty much close slash slash heavy slash, which I'm playing Ram, right? That's sort of my my character. It's the only one I really played, so I don't know if this is different for other things or other characters, but it kind of just sucks that P doesn't go into K, or like 2K doesn't go into 5K, whatever, right? It's just kind of, I don't really care for it. It should. In my head, it makes sense that P would go into K, or K would go into P, or K can go into slash, whatever, right? I really think it just feels bad that it feels like sometimes your buttons don't really do anything for you. And like when you get a hit on block, or just in general, and what I mean by this is like, I used to be able to hit certain things and they would Gatling, or they would link in together to kind of create a sense of pressure on the opponent, but I'm not really feeling it in this one as much. I noticed like when I was playing my buddy, you can pretty much just spam P, right? You can just spam like your punch, your kick, or not so much your kick, but your punch, which is weird kind of, but you could do that before in Xrd too. So, but I don't know, it feels weird. I think they would benefit a lot from making like punch Gatling into kick, or kick Gatling into punch, or I think that's something they need to look into. They don't have to have a huge long page of certain Gatlings and how they would work, but I do think like something like Grand Blue Fantasy, right? I can sit there and I can link, like, I can come up and create pressure. I can run up to you and do like my 2L, 2L, 5L. I think the game should have something like that where I can run up to somebody and be like, okay, I'm going to 2K into 5P or 5K, whatever. I think that would be good for the game. I could be wrong, but that's just how I'm feeling about it. Yeah, like obviously I already talked about this. We don't have to really talk about it. I put it up there. I should delete this probably, but I will get around to that. Damage right here. Let's talk about damage. Damage in this game. Super high. Feels like if you get hit into a combo once, you're pretty much losing like 60% of your HP. 1 sec, guys. Got a burp. Apologize, but yeah, this just feels kind of bad. You only got one burst, right? So like, let's say I burst out of one combo, and then I immediately, you could say it's my fault, but I immediately get back into another combo, and it's like, okay, 70% of my HP bar is just gone, and it's like, oh, well, okay, that's not cool. And they do have guts in this game, from what I've heard, and it doesn't seem like it's strong, or it's not really doing much at the lower HPs like it should. So I think maybe just simply making that higher, better, making guts go up higher, having lowering that damage when you're low. I think that'd be good. Obviously, I think that'd be really good. Yeah, we already talked about the fuzzy jump thing, but it does seem strong. I mean, you can only really just bait it out and pray, pretty much. So yeah, there's that. We kind of talked about this already, but this is pretty specific things, but it does make it does make the gameplay feel kind of restrictive and kind of like you can't do anything at times. So yeah, but we kind of already talked about that too. I'm gonna post this in my Discord too, so if you guys want to link to it, it'll be in there after the stream, or after I do this, right? So here we go. Instant air dash. Okay, so here's what we got in this game, right? Milia, her air dash, right, is 9 frames. Everybody else's is 13. Milia's feel good. I think hers feel pretty good just because they're very fast, very quick, and she can do a double air dash, which is cool. It makes that character feel super fluid, super good. But I think the rest of the cast would kind of benefit from almost the same thing. I don't know if it would break things. That's something you have to obviously test. But the one thing I don't like is like air dash, or when I instant air dash backwards, right? It feels good, it's quick, it doesn't have that ring that comes out, right? Sorry, I got like really bad indigestion right now, jeez. But I don't like the ring that comes forward because it feels clunky. You know, I prefer it not to be there or it to be less of a factor because it kind of just stops your character right where it's at and then jolts him forward, which I'm not really a big fan of. It feels clunky, like I said. I just think either removing it or making that animation maybe a little bit more smooth would be better. And just when something's instant, right? You want it to be instant. You don't want it to be clunky, laggy, whatever. So I think that would be a nice beneficial change. Maybe I'm wrong, because I'm thinking of older Guilty Gears in a way, but I'm just saying from what it feels like, I would prefer some changes to that. Now, character designs, why I think they're okay and they're cool visually. I do think some characters are almost too simple. And what I mean by that is I think most of these characters would just benefit from just maybe one or two more moves in their arsenal to be able to use, you know? Well, maybe I'm thinking too much like Xrd, right? But to me, it just feels like, every character could just use maybe one or two more moves, because I know, like, Ram, she lost, like, her projectile, right? And she lost her command grab, and a lot of characters have command grabs in this game, so it feels kind of weird that Ram lost hers, but, people are going to agree or disagree with me. That's all fine and dandy. Leo has a command grab now, by the way, so I don't understand why Ram can't have one, but Ram's OP right now. People have have a perception of her already, so that is what it is. That was pretty simple, straightforward. Okay, yeah, infinite combos. Okay, so I think Giovanna and Soul, I think I've seen, have infinite combos, which is pretty bad in any fighting game, right? You don't want to get hit once and then just be in this endless loop and die because of it. It's like, okay, I made one mistake, but now I'm dead for it. That feels kind of bad in any game, right? But I put in here, like, add more guts. Sorry, I'm having terrible indigestion. I do apologize, but more guts. Or I don't know if it would. It would, I think, just because, like, once you get low on HP. But I mean, if it's an infinite, right? Guts isn't really gonna make it not less infinite. But guts would help in other places. Maybe. I know, like, most characters, in Xrd had, like, a certain weight assigned to them, and, like, as a combo kept going, more gravity would come down on your character. It was, screw up timings and stuff like that. Maybe give you a chance to get out of it. Maybe there's more pushback the longer you're being hit or putting blocks on. But that doesn't really matter. But if you're being hit, maybe the pushback would push you back just a little bit further once a combo gets so long. Just something, because infinite combos are never good to have really in any game, right? They're just not. They feel bad for the person that you're playing against, right? And they feel great for the person that's doing it, right? But yeah, that's not good for overall gameplay. So hopefully they do something like that. Yo, what's up? How's it going? We're just talking about some Guilty Gear Strive, the beta and everything. So glad you come in. So Dust, right? I'm thinking Dust in terms of Xrd, right? What I don't like, it feels good and it feels bad at the same time. I think the new animation where you, like, go up is, like, super cool and, like, immersive, and it's something different, and I like that. But you can only hone in on somebody up into the air, right? You can't hone in on somebody by pressing forward and honing them into the corner. That feels kind of weird. I don't like that you can't choose to hone forward, but I also can see maybe why they took it out at first. But then I thought about it. It's like Dust is really slow in this game. It feels slower than it was in, like, Xrd. And I think you should give. I can see why they don't have the one to go forward, because maybe it would lead into, like, an instant wall break, right? And then people would only hone forward and things like that. But it feels weird, and, like, Dust seems like it's super hard to hit in this game and all that. Sorry again. But yeah, maybe there's some way they can maybe make it so that's a thing. I don't know. Just, the dust is really slow in this game. It's super hard to hit from what I've seen in gameplay and from what I've been playing and seeing. People don't really use dust. I don't think there's really a reason to use dust, right? But yeah, hopefully they can figure something out with that, because dust is cool. So I think it's a cool mechanic. Hopefully we see some changes to it. And I talked about wall breaks, and here's the cons of wall breaks, right? So the problem with wall breaks is there's really never a reason to not to break them, right? And that kind of leads to some gameplay issues, because sometimes you don't want to break it, right? You want to get people into this oaky situation where they have to guess, or you want to hit some meaty on them as they're getting up from knockdown, or whatever, right? It simplifies combo routes in a sense, because it's like you're never gonna go for like a meaty or in the corner, or this oaky that we're looking for, right? We're never gonna do that, right? We're just gonna break the wall, because you get insane damage, you get this momentum, you get you get the momentum of the tension gauge rising. It cuts your momentum off, which I think sucks, because if you're put in the corner, man, you were put there for a reason. You screwed up somewhere, and that's where you're at, right? You should get punished for being in the corner. And now wall break, I'm not saying wall break's bad, I'm not saying it's good, but it's an interesting thing. I just think that's going to take some time, and it would benefit from some changes. And I don't think removing oaky from the game entirely is a good thing. I mean, obviously there's still some oaky in the game, but it's few and far between, at least from what I've seen. I can be corrected, obviously. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you've seen something different, maybe I'm missing something, so feel free. But yeah, like I said, I hear, optimizing combos, becomes less important, right? Because it's like you're not really sitting there thinking of like, oh man, what's this super insane combo that I can do, and then the super insane setup I can do to keep my combo going or extend my damage or my advantage. You're not really thinking about that anymore. Really, all you're thinking about is like, how can I get this? How can I carry this person to the wall, and how can I wall break that? Right. So I think wall breaks can be interesting, but I do think it's going to take them some time to really figure them out, because you should really get a chance to, do your oaky or something. You're in the corner, right? I think this is more of a change for almost maybe worse players, to give them a sense like, oh my god, I still have a chance. But yeah, that's what fighting games are, man. You get put in the corner, say goodbye to that HP bar, right? So that's that. I saw this brought up too, and I thought it was very, very good, right? Very good that somebody brought it up. I agree with it. Getting hits near the corner, right? They feel less rewarding. And why do they feel less rewarding? Because normally, if you got a hit in the corner, right, you're doing what I said. You're setting up oaky. You're taking that one hit and turning it into this insane damage combo for 40% or 30% of somebody's HP. But now, when you get somebody to the wall, it's breaking it in 2 or 3 hits, right? So you're not really, you're getting less damage than you normally would. If there wasn't wall break in the game, which, I think it's fine. It's fine right now just because damage is so high and everything. You're breaking the wall regardless, right? But it would be nice. I think it would be nice to have the option to go for this nice little corner combo, without breaking the wall. And I know people are going to bring up this point, like, hey, you can just let him drop to the ground. Yeah, I could, but now I'm halting my momentum that I've gained from you making a wrong decision. So it's like, so now you're saying I should let up on my decision making just because you failed to make the wrong choice, right? I just don't agree with that. I think they need to find a happy medium. Yeah, I'm kind of sad seeing this document, but I was really angry at some things I was seeing. So let's get to talk about them now, right? So here we go. Let's talk about Oaky Bone. I feel like it's kind of gone in a sense, but I was playing Addiction today, right? He was playing Millia, right? Millia still has like some Oaky, right? She can put her ring out there. She has the first version and then the second version, right? She has her slash and her heavy slash version, right? And you can use it to mix up timings, You have to block it, right? I wasn't blocking it today, so I was getting hit with it, but it feels like there's sort of that sense of Oaky there with her, right? So I don't think it's completely gone from the game, but I do think most of it is few and far between, like I said before. I think it's because, of wall break and, most characters do benefit from wall break. Some don't really benefit from it, right? From what I've seen, when I'm playing Ram and I break the wall, I don't really have any options for Oki after I break the wall, right? So I don't know. Me and my buddy tested it today, and he did a super, right? Super into wall break, and it gives you a hard knockdown, and he still couldn't get any Oki off on me because I recovered too fast. So I don't know. You know, it's still, yeah, like I said, the verdict's still kind of out there, and but I do feel wall break limits a lot of those Oki situations. But here we go. We're nearing the end. Nearing the end. Okay. So here we go. System. We got the system wise, UI wise. You know, most of this stuff is system based, right? But it's more gameplay. But I'm talking about here. Talking about the lobby system. But that's what I think. Gameplay wise, you know, if that's what I went through. If you guys agree, don't agree, you know, we can talk about it in the Discord. You guys can let me know all that good stuff. But oh, oops, let me get rid of that. Okay, cool. But yeah, let's go down here and talk about the system and UI stuff. So the lobby system in this game, it's really bad. It's not good. It feels worse than older lobby systems, honestly. And we were having problems where me and my friends were joking about, you know, the lobby feels like it has delay-based netcode, while, you know, they couldn't afford rollback for the lobbies, you know, stuff like that, because it was lagging very bad, or it was teleporting you around the map and things like that. You know, I'm usually a big fan of pixel art, but I'm not a fan of it in Guilty Gear, I'll be honest. Maybe if it was higher quality, but it does seem unfinished and super low quality. Like I said, you know, if the quality is higher, I might like it, because I'm a big fan of pixel art. So, but there was nothing wrong, right? There was nothing wrong with old lobbies. Old lobbies were cool. You know, you walked into a lobby, you had your arcade cabinets there. You went up and picked one, or went up and sat down next to somebody that was waiting on a cabinet. You just sat down and you started playing. You hit the X button. It's like, okay, cool. This feels good. You select your character, all that good stuff, and you're in, right? And you have the rematch button, which the rematch button will be in. That's why I didn't put it in here. They will have a rematch button, you know, in the release of the game. But I think, like, there was nothing wrong with Xrd lobbies. There was nothing wrong with Gray and Blue Fantasy versus lobbies, you know. I think they should just do that. I mean, Blaze Blue had the pixel art lobbies, right? But, like, you know, that game's older. And I didn't hate Blaze Blue's lobbies, but I didn't really care for them that much. But they weren't terrible, right? But yeah, just the cabinet and like the chibi sort of thing, I think that makes for a great lobby system. It was good in other games. They changed it because they wanted it to be easier and more pleasing for new players, but I think it's honestly less appeasing, or yeah, or it's less so for new players and stuff. It's not good. I really hope that they see the error of their ways, kind of thing, and make it better. Maybe in a new version when they come out with Guilty Gear Strive Rev 2, whatever. Maybe they do it in a big update with Season 1 or Season 2, but right now they're not good. That's another thing I was talking about. Having to pull your sword out after every match and ready up over and over wastes a lot of time. It's really not great. Obviously, yeah, they're putting a rematch button in at launch, but even then, so having to sit there and pull out your sword and wait for your sword to come out and then hit X and then hit challenge and all this, it just seems very barbaric, and I'm not a fan of it. Maybe they change it, maybe they change my mind, but right now, not a fan. But yeah, also the UI is still bad. It doesn't feel very, like, you look at older games, old Guilty Gear games like Xrd or Accent Core, you know, I'm gonna keep, you know, going back to those, but it's like the UI feels very like heavy metal, very Guilty Gear, very, you know, unique. And this one is very plain and unappealing. It grew on me kind of a little bit, but it's still very off-putting. I just think it would benefit from a better UI. That's not going to happen, obviously. We've complained about it, and they've made it better, but it's still not great. So I think that's one of those things that it is what it is at this point. We have to live with it, right? And then we have we have the large, this is a big problem, and I despise it, and I don't really care what anybody says on this one, but seeing counter, like this large counter come up, right, and hit, and go, oh, whoa, are we losing? Okay, we're fine. Sorry, I'm dropping frames really hard, but in Xrd, you know, when you hit like a mortal counter or something, right? It just came out and said mortal counter, and it was very small, but you could still see it, right? Or you saw counter. It was in the corner. It was small. It wasn't, you know, making things all cluttered, not making things visibly clear. Now it freezes the screen. You get these large counter things when you make a mortal counter. And I just don't really care for it, man. It slows the. It feels bad that it'll stop the gameplay, zoom in on it, and be like counter, and it's like, okay, that's great and all. I get it. He was pressing buttons when I was hitting my slash or my heavy slash, but like, come on, man. Like it literally restricts the flow of the gameplay, and I'm not a fan of it. The beat thing, like when you do like a super or something, it's too big. It covers the entire, like, 3/4, almost 80% of the screen with just, you know, all. It's unnecessary. You can't see certain things when you start coming out of there because it lingers on the screen. Not a fan. It takes away from the visual clarity, like I said, of the game. It needs to be removed. Like the guy said, it was like his own style, and it's like you can still have your style without making the font 500 in size for everything, or 1,000, or whatever font size he chose that he thought was necessary, 5,000. It's not great. I don't mind like the new art of like the combo counter and stuff, but I just don't like how it impedes on your visual clarity for certain things, and it's annoying. And I thought maybe I'd get used to it, but I didn't. I personally didn't. I think it's not good, and that should be changed. So